round two,
Yeah.
live, number 2 of the day. All right.
Very special live stream today. People wanted to hear our opinions.
Yeah, so you guys asked us to chime in on the Tropic, Marin, turkey salt situation.
Yep.
For those who don't know, there's some brown salt going around. Tropic Marin's handling it. We'll tell you how they're going to do it.
Yep.
So I am not a representative of Tropic Marin. I happen to know a little bit more about the situation than probably the average Joe.
Yeah.
So we'll share that today with you. Probably be a pretty short video today.
Not really speaking for Tropic Marin, though.
Yeah, definitely not speaking upon their behalf. I may screw this up. In fact, this is a complex subject, so 100% chance today I'm going to put my foot in my mouth. You just have to tell me when I did it.
Just don't shoot the messenger.
Yeah, don't shoot the messenger. We are just trying to share some information with you guys.
Yeah.
That said, I just sometimes,
Personal
man,
feelings about Tropic Marin.
when I'm biased,
Yeah.
I feel like I just got to open it up and say it.
And you're biased.
I am biased here.
I think all of us here are biased after we've been running Tropic Marin salt for two-ish years now.
I like the salt. I like the people there.
Yep.
They stand up. They
It's a good team.
have a different level of ethics than most of the people in the industry. And I can't, if I told you as a reseller of Tropic Marin, if I told you I was totally unbiased, I think that's just be a lie.
A lie.
I don't know. So filter everything we share
Yeah.
through that. I try to put on my reefer hat and
How do we feel about this as a reefer?
How do you feel about it as a reefer? I try to do my best. All right.
But that doesn't mean that we're not disappointed either.
No.
Yeah.
Terribly disappointed. In fact, varied a little bit between pissed off and disappointed.
This salt changed a lot of the things that we did around here. So
One of the things that you're going to pick up today, though, is it's really easy for us to all be awesome when things are going great.
Yeah.
It's what we do when the chips are down, when things are not going well.
Yep.
That kind of defines character. So you guys can decide that for yourself.
Yep.
All right. So I'm not going to bury the lead here. Tropic Marin is going to replace the salt at no charge to anyone who is affected and asks for it. Anybody who feels the need to say, hey, give me the replacement salt,
Yep.
they will do that. Details on it are still being worked out. I know everybody like an answer like this second, but I think you're just going to have to live on the statement that Tropic Marin is going to replace the salt at no charge to anyone who is affected.
now, a couple caveats here. Well, the most up-to-date information, we've got that link in the description. We just posted it here in the live chat too. So that's going to be the source of information. But they are working on a solution, and we have our own solution. We're going to get to here in a second. But the people who feel that they were affected,
Boom.
probably have a solution.
Taken care of. So here's the reason why it's going to be a little bit. It's because it's a complex distribution network. The stuff
Globally,
comes
yeah.
from Germany, from Turkey, actually in this case from Turkey, to distribution points in the United States. It doesn't just go to BRS. It goes through major distributors in the United States, then back out to fish stores, back out to other online shops. It's like, they have to solve the whole thing, man, that somehow is going to solve it for everyone all at once. And I don't know how to tell anybody this other than that is a complex situation to do.
Yeah.
But they're committed to doing it, and they'll do it fairly quickly. So give them just a breath of air, and they'll probably do it for you. All right. So what is the issue, and is it real? So this actually, for me, first popped up, and I didn't notice it at the time.
Right.
Like I didn't know what I was looking at, but the conversations are, hey, this salt that is used to be crystal clear has all of a sudden got some brown, gunk in it like other salts.
Yeah, this was, this is something I noticed off to the side, but never actually sat and thought, like, why is this doing? Earlier last year is when we used Tropic Marin Pro Reef, and we've got 250-gallon vat back here, a 300-gallon vat in the warehouse. We've got the BRS 160 vat. We've got vats in the lab. We use this. Every single tank in this office uses the Tropic Marin Pro Reef. And sometime in the middle of last year, I started to notice that, like especially the BRS 160, there's brown buildup inside, and that's just never
in those bins
in the
back there.
bins. But it's never been an issue before, and we're not seeing negative effects in any of the tanks, but that should have raised a red flag.
Okay, so I noticed it at home, and I don't remember the exact. Do you remember the date that I took down the tank?
Oh,
We moved it here to my office.
It was still warm outside, so I'm guessing like August.
Yeah. Okay.
sometime.
So here's the thing. It was just funny because I shot a video of it, and like I have a 200-gallon vat down in the basement, right? And I saw a video, or I shot a video because it's like, man, I got 15 buckets of salt gone through this thing, and it looks like it's brand new. Like, yeah, this is why I love this stuff,
Yeah.
right? Okay. Then a month later, we shut down the tank, and the vat is dirty brown. And I'm like, what happened, man, in the last month? But to be honest, man, I'm moving this tank, and that, like, my mind is just not worried about this
Right.
brown thing. Like, but what happened in the last month? And I don't know. It was like a blip on the radar that maybe I should have noticed. But I'm also trying to move a 360-gallon tank that's full of water and have it be in a new house or in my office full of water and not kill anything.
Yeah.
It just wasn't the priority. And then I actually thought about this because then we talked to the team here, and like we start hearing these like has got some brown residue in the containers reports, and I'm like, hey guys, have you seen that? And they're like, oh yeah, we've definitely seen brown in these things. And I'm like, well, why wouldn't have anybody said anything? And I figured it out.
Huh.
It's because we changed to Malachi about that time.
Oh,
So
our new tank.
takes the guy who takes care of all the tanks.
Takes care of
here.
all the tanks. Yeah.
It used to be Josh. And so if Josh was doing it and all of a sudden the things turned brown, he would have almost certainly said, hey dude, why are these things turning brown? But if it turns at the exact same time to a new reefer that didn't know any better is taking care of the tanks, how would he know any better?
Yeah. None.
Yeah, it was interesting. Okay, so turns out we're here in the community. There's some brown residue in the stuff, or in the people's mixing bins,
Right.
and some other similar things like that. And I'm seeing it in my own house, I guess. I didn't know it. We're seeing it here.
We did some independent type of mixing and
After-
stuff.
After we called.
After the fact. This was a few weeks ago.
So I called up the team in Germany and said, hey guys, this is what we're seeing. And this is actually a turning point for me because I've done this before, and I'll share in a second. I've shared bad news like that before.
To other manufacturers of different things.
Yeah, and including salts. And the knee-jerk reaction is
It's no problem.
I think of the song Shaggy, wasn't me, caught you in the shower, wasn't me, I think of that all the time, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just like, nope, and then they'll straight up lie to me, they'll straight up no, it was definitely, I'm not gonna look at it, don't show it to me, I don't wanna see it, and we've all seen bad batch stuff all over the place. So I'm bracing for impact. Like I know there's some real here. I don't know the scope of it or what's causing it, but and I couldn't believe it. It was like, oh, we're on it. We're looking into it. We're gonna go send this to lab. We're gonna send it out to university, and we're on. We'll let you know. And then meanwhile, we're like, all right, so here we're gonna replicate the test that we did in Randy's salt
mixing.
experiments. And see if we can replicate it here.
And we did.
Sure enough, the German stuff doesn't have it.
And the turkey stuff has like film.
A little bit of film on
You
it.
could see some chunks down on the bottom, which was interesting.
Yeah, so it was like had the brown residue and stuff in it, and you're like, yep, this is real. They instead of argue with us, which is usually the case, I've called up other people, your salt yellow or whatever, everybody just ignores it.
Yeah.
So in this case, yeah, dude. I'm kind of impressed. I don't like the situation we're in, but at least you're doing something about it.
Right.
Anyway, so yeah, I would call the issue real. It sounds like it is from Turkey. I don't know exactly what it is because the first step they were doing ICP and nobody really found anything ICP. Then I told them hey dude, I think the problem that you're having isn't the kind of thing that would show up in ICP. Like clay and stuff isn't really going to necessarily show up in ICP.
Yeah.
It shows up on a sediment filter or the gunk on the bottom, Immediately said, yeah, this definitely is a visual issue. They dove into the visual issue. I don't know, I was a little flabbergasted. It's not the way I expected it to go. In any case, is
it safe?
It's Turkey. So Turkey what it sounds like, and this is where I can't speak upon their behalf because they're still doing some research on it, but I'm 100% certain you're going to hear the full story. But it sounds like there is, like most of what's in that bucket, by the way, is sodium chloride. So almost everything that could be good or bad about the salt in most cases is due to the source of sodium chloride.
The vein of sodium chloride, or however they're collecting it.
Yeah, is it a, like dehydrated salt, out of the ocean, a desalination plant byproduct? Is it mined out of the ground? Has it been processed at all? And actually an interesting tidbit they shared with me was at one point they actually wanted to set up a factory in the United States, right? But they couldn't find a residue, pure, free source of sodium chloride in the United States. So it doesn't make any sense to like ship sodium chloride to the United States to make salt.
Yeah.
It makes zero sense. So you couldn't do that. And look, I think that's true. Like everybody knows a differentiator between tropic marin salt and every other salt out there. Most of them mix various degrees of brown residue, and this one doesn't.
Yes.
So
we hung our hat on.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. Like for me, it's a little bit of peace of mind.
Yeah.
But also, like, I don't want to clean up the bin. End of story.
Yeah. And storage forever. Yeah.
So, in any case, they dove into all that stuff. So the end of the story is, I think there might be some clay or the stuff that you would find in all the other salts out there. So the question becomes like, is it bad or is it just the same as everything else out there?
Yeah, this one's tough. One of the things you would want to point to is, okay, so if it's a pandemic issue and there's everybody who has gotten these salts or these specific batches or whatever is losing things, or there's just a pandemic of it, then obviously not safe. It's hard because it's kind of like you go to those reef to reef threads and you see handfuls of people that are reporting, or handfuls of reefers that are reporting mysterious losses and effects to acros and things like that. Hey, you give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe that maybe there wasn't a change, and this is, they can directly point their finger to the salt.
It's hard.
When there's like it's the analogy you use all the time, and how many people raise their hand in a group of a 10 or 100, and it seems like a real problem.
Yeah, that's the best analogy there is. So if I got all 30,000 boxes of Tropic Marin that has been sold, by this way, this is since April.
Yeah.
They released that yesterday, that the sodium chloride or the issue, whatever it is, happened in April, coming out of Turkey. And by the way, if you're wondering if you have a Turkey box, it has 6 digits in the batch code. The German stuff has 8, so that's how you'd know. And the thing about it is like if there's 30,000 boxes that went in circulation since then, and if I filled up the room with everybody in it and said, how many of you had a problem with your corals, and 100 raised their hand, you'd say, wow, there are actually 29,900 that didn't, right?
Yeah.
But if you did it online and 30,000 people saw it, but 100 people posted in a thread, you'd say, oh my God, pandemic.
Yeah.
Right? And I say that because not out of this issue, but I always look for, when is there a real issue? Because if you chase every last fairy tale, and I don't know if this one is or not, but like, you're doing a disservice to everybody as well. So I tend to look for when, like, I've seen this with other salts where, they give a club a pallet of it and then an entire club has a problem with it. Well, for sure.
That's a batch, obviously a batch issue.
Yeah, like you're killing tanks, man, and everybody got the thing out of the same pallet. Like, yeah, for sure. That's your problem. But if it's less than 1%, there's no way around it, man. If I push a button and it stings me, it feels like the button stung me, man. Like that's just the reality of it. If I did X and Y happened, it must be X. But we do have to answer the question of, why didn't it happen to everybody else? And why I say why didn't it happen to everybody else? Because there's 50 different tanks here at BRS. All the bins are brown.
Yep.
We definitely have the same clay stuff in there or whatever. I'm calling it clay. I don't know.
Yeah, that was going to be my point too. Is like
this tank right here.
At all of the tanks we've been using, we go through more Tropic Marin Pro salt than probably any reefer out there who's buying the stuff from us. We go through pallets of this crap here, and we've been doing it for since this has been an issue. And there's not one tank in this building that we could point to that says something happened and it might be the salt.
Since April, we've been using them all.
Yeah.
And I don't know. So here's the thing: is if you're going to ask, is it, you said bad batch? Is it just some brown stuff like every other salt out there?
It's not showing on ICP.
Should I use it? I think you should actually. If a responsible answer to this is I don't know. You should wait for the full detailed response from Tropic Marin. They will give you the guidance of exactly what it is. I would expect to see this in a very near future, right?
Yeah.
Like full detail of what they found, how they're going to solve it for the future, and then how they're going to replace the salt for anybody affected.
Yeah.
I would expect to see that in the very few future. I would wait for that for the answer. For me, even though we've been using that salt since
we're customers of Tropic Marin Pro salt.
Even though I've been using it since April, I'm going to start using German now until they give me that answer, like
The German
any
batches.
reasonable person would.
Yeah.
So I don't know the answer to it. You'll have to find out as time goes on. There will definitely be various reports, different ways, and I don't. You would expect, man, like I've seen actually like one person shared, they did a 20% water change and all of a sudden, they had bad effects in their corals. And then they did a 20% water change with another salt and all of a sudden it was solved. And like, God, that's not a good example of where it feels like the buttons I'm pushing are causing it. But
the dilution factor.
Dude, if I did a 20% water change and that means 80% of the original water's in there, whatever I put in there, man, it's poison.
This must be
right?
poison.
Right? Okay. I mean, if it's killing stuff that level, it's terrible. And it should show up on ICP, and it isn't, by the way. At that point, if you did a water change and you're like, I used a different salt and it solved it, and I did a 20% water change. Well, dude, 80% of the poison is still in there, man. Your water change wouldn't have solved it. You'd have to do like 100% water change for that to work. So I don't know the answer.
It's really tough.
It is a complex thing. You actually have to be there to figure it out.
Yeah.
All right. So
has this happened before?
Has this happened before? And I think we touched on this earlier. I don't know. Almost every salt out there, not just has it happened before, but it's happened many, many times.
There's salt that's dirty all the time.
I can think, first off, they're all dirty all the time. Right?
There is.
This is the one standout. So did they just fall down to the same level as everybody else? I don't know. But the reality is if I bought a Ferrari and you put a Hyundai engine in it, I'm pissed off.
Of course.
Right? So and if I was a Ferrari dealer or a manufacturer and I found out I had put Hyundai engines in this, I'm pissed off too.
Hell
like,
yes.
Who the hell did that? I'm embarrassed. So I think that I think you'll find out the answer to that as well. The difference here is they admitted to it, whereas none of the other salt manufacturers, and really actually the scope of problems that goes outside of that, when we hit them up, the conversation goes totally the opposite. It's fight it, it's lie, it's don't admit it, don't acknowledge it. And like I've talked about this actually behind the scenes with a bunch of the industry pros or old timers, and they're like, oh yeah, dude, like most of these guys have a problem like once a year, and they just would never tell anybody.
Yeah.
And so. And actually, you can see the vultures kind of come out too now. Like, oh, look, they had a problem. Let's see if I can ride the wave and get people to switch to my salt.
That's true.
I don't know.
Well, that goes back to, I guess, the next thing here. That goes back to, you saying that, you may be honest, all the time, and nobody really notices it when you're doing the right things and things are going good. But it's harder to be honest, when things are going bad.
So, dude, however many buckets of salt they have to replace now because they acknowledged it and
It's
they're
going to be
solve it.
expensive.
2022 may be a very unprofitable year, but it doesn't matter because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I would wait for their response. If you want to see the response, you go to their website. I think there's a link in here somewhere. But you can just go to Tropic Marin and find it. They're updating it there. Do you need to go back there every day? No. Check it out in a week.
Yep.
Okay. And so from a BRS standpoint, I don't know. We have 365-day returns on everything unopened. So send it back. We generally have a flat rate fee for shipping things back. We waive it here. So if you want to send back your unopened salt, man, just call us up and we'll send it back. We'll give you a refund.
Yeah, so unopened boxes of the turkey manufactured salt, that's the one with the 6 digits rather than the 8 digits. That's how you know for sure.
So after April, 6 digits on the turkey.
Unopened box.
Unopened box.
Send it
hit
back
us
to
up.
us.
We'll send it back. All right, the obvious question is like, what if I already used it or opened it? Well, they still want to take care of you. But
Don't send us a half-open box of salt.
What's the point of shipping? I mean, like you're just burning fuel.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
Yeah.
Nobody wants a half-open box of salt. You don't want to ship it. You don't want to go store.
And Tropic Marin's going to have a solution for you soon.
In fact, in all reality, you don't even want to bring the full box back, and I don't really want that either. And you don't want to go through that hassle. So I think the best bet for everybody, it does mean like have a minute of patience, but let them sort out how they're going to do this. Hopefully it'll be within a week, almost certainly within 2 weeks. Stop at their website and they will explain how they're going to do it.
They're going to be replacing boxes.
And so like opened, not opened, doesn't matter. If you're unhappy with it, they will replace it. End of story, hard stop. The problem is, I don't know if they have enough of the German salt in the United States to actually replace it. Some of that stuff is actually on the water. So yeah, dude, they will stand behind it. They will do it at an enormous cost and they will do the right thing. But
it's going to require some patience.
It might take a month to actually receive it. It might take, I don't know. I'm spitting out numbers. I don't know if it's on the water, how long it takes. These days they get it off of a boat through the port.
Which is hard to do these days. Yeah.
There is going to be a patience in a world where none of us have any patience. I don't know what to tell you. So this is all you'll know. Hopefully this gives you a little bit of background on, I don't know, the situation with their salt, how they're handling it, your expectations that you can have going forward.
Yep.
If you want to know the next step to, or how they're going to handle it, check out their website.
It's in the description below.
You could go to their website every day if you want. My suggestion is it'll probably take a week or so for them to figure out the logistics of getting it through their entire distribution network and solving it for you guys. But super disappointed.
Yeah.
It's like it's when the people that you love the most let you down, it's the most painful. Like if somebody you didn't care about let you down, well,
brush that
I never
off.
cared about you anyway. I don't know what to tell you. So, but I'm glad that they're standing up for it. When the chips are down, they're standing up for you guys. It will take a little bit of time, but at the same time, man, they're doing what nobody else would do.
That's true.
All right, you guys asked for our update. Again, I'm not a representative of Tropic Marin. I'm sure I put my foot in my mouth somewhere today because it's a hard topic.
We're customers just as like you.
But there is everything we know.
Yep.
And I will be watching the Tropic Marin website just like you guys. All right.